Hi everyone, it is Jillian here from Connections Early Years Family Center. Today we are talking about natural water play and ponds. So for today's video we're going to go over a couple different ways that you and your little ones can get out and interacting with some of the natural water features that we have here in Windsor, and all the different things that we can learn from water, because water and water conservation are always important topics, but especially as we're coming up into the spring and the summer, we want to learn more about how to really explore these, and it's a great time of year to do it because all the pond life is really swinging into full bloom. Really quick, I want to go over some very important things about water safety. So anytime you're doing any activity with your little ones near water, you have to go over a couple ground rules first, because water can be quite dangerous. There are a lot of accidents that can happen near water, which is why it's so important that you're always paying attention, being very vigilant around water, and that your child is never unsupervised or unattended. Whenever you're doing a water activity, you need your child to know that they never go near the water until they ask you first. This is to ensure that you are always able to pay attention when they're in and around the water. It doesn't matter if you're playing in the shallowest of ponds or a very deep water feature, it doesn't matter. All water can be potentially dangerous. So just make sure that when you're doing this, you're keeping that in mind, that even a shallow pond like this is hazardous in its own way. So you always want your child to understand and respect that water can be dangerous if they're not being careful. When you're doing your water safety, you should always be within arm's reach of your child, so it's great to be supervising. But if you're in water that's a lot deeper, just try and be close. It doesn't have to be quite arm's reach, but close enough that if they were to fall, or if something were to happen and they maybe fall into somewhere where they can't quite stand, that you're able to pull them out quickly and try and mitigate things as far as that. Whenever we're doing anything in nature, to keep in mind that we need to respect nature as well as have fun in it. So one great thing that you can do on your ponds, and this is just a quick start because we always love to look at the plants when we're doing our nature walks, is if you can see, if we get that angle right, there's lots of beautiful plants that only grow underwater. So when you're doing your ponds and your nature walk, see if you can ask your children what are the differences between plants that you might see in the water and plants that you might see around the pond, such as these nice tall reeds, lots of beautiful ones out, as well as some fallen trees. So ask your child what differences that they can see around water, and this is just one way of exploring kind of the habitat that water creates. We have a lovely bird here in the background who's making some great music, so you can look at that as well. But just asking, what kind of differences do you see in somewhere like this, where it's a little pond, there's probably lots of frogs here in this area if it wasn't quite so cold out today. But again, just having your child use those observation skills and starting off your day exploring your water habitats by just noticing some of those key differences. And vegetation is definitely one of those key differences when it comes to habitat. Another great thing that you might notice here, at least in Windsor, Essex, is you'll find a lot of willows around water. So there's something really magical about willow trees, the way that they drape down, and it's a little bit like a canopy. And especially for your little ones who are, a lot smaller than the rest of us, it's going to feel really, really magical. So definitely take advantage of some of the different types of trees that you're going to find near water, and really let water become that magical place that you can explore with your little ones. And as a great addition, as you can hear, sometimes the best bird song and all the best bird calls are found in and around ponds, so don't be afraid to, sit down. If you need a blanket, you can bring a blanket, sit down under some willow trees, watch the pond, and try and listen and look for all the different type of birds that would come and frequent this pond, because like all animals, and just like us, they also need water sources, so it's a great place to find them. Another really great activity that I love to do in the spring is one of my favorite ways to wake up in the morning and just get outside and feel connected to nature, is to come outside with your rain boots. Certainly not some of your old runners or anything that's going to be able to absorb or walk in any water. But you're going to grab your rain boots or your puddle jumpers, you're going to head out, and you're going to try and find some of the puddles that often collect in the springtime in those local forests and little woodlands. So this is typically a trail that I would actually walk during the rest of the year. This time of year it floods and creates these puddles that right now this is only up to my ankle, but in some areas can go almost to the top of my rain boots. Being able to move through them, and there's a lot of sensory things going on here. You can feel the leaves swirling around, you can push these logs that are hollow and floating. There's lots of sensory things and also lots of connection that is going on in this activity, and it's so fun for these little ones because for them it's going to feel like they're almost up to their waist, and they're not. They're going to have their rain boots on, but they're going to feel as though they're in some very secret, watery world. They're looking for different vegetation, but you might be lucky enough to see frogs, not today, too cold. Turtles, probably too cold today as well. But also lots and lots of ducks this time of year, and this is a great place to come and look for them because often a duck and its mate will hang out in these shallow little ponds and lay their eggs, and eventually their eggs will hatch. One of the main reasons this is so much fun for you and your little ones is because when you have your rain boots on, you can go places that other people who are walking the trails can't really go because they're going to get their feet wet. So it almost feels like kind of a VIP in nature where you can explore anywhere you want because you have the proper gear, which is something that we always talk about in these videos, is dressing appropriately. And you don't need new rain boots. Rain boots last forever. They're made of rubber. They don't get holes in them. So just go find a pair. It doesn't matter if it's your grandma's pair you've had for a couple decades. Put them on and go explore some of these puddles. It's going to be so much fun for you and the little ones. We're going to do another little, not an experiment, but something that will help you and your little ones learn a little bit about water as well, because we don't just want to enjoy it, we want to learn about it. You're going to take and you're going to scoop up some water, let it fill your bag, and you're going to take a look at how it looks, and you're going to, again, it's okay if there's holes in the bag, you don't need to retain the water, we're not keeping anything from nature, we just want to look at it. So here, have your little one look in the water and tell you what they see. Again, this is just some fun inquiry stuff that you can do with them out in nature, let them really learn about the water that they're in. So they can look at it and say, what do they see? I see lots of little pieces of wood. I see little pieces of green in there, so it could be algae or moss. Depending on where you do this, you might accidentally scoop a tadpole or two, so again, that's why we're always making sure to put this back. But it looks relatively clear for the most part, if you can see. It's actually not too dark, not too cloudy, not too muddy. And this is just one of those ways that you and your little ones can begin to think about water and how clean is certain places of water, what types of water do different environments need. And you can even do this to compare. So again, we're not going to take the water with us, but if you wanted to fill a bag, take a picture, go to a different water source, take a picture. We're actually going to go look at a different water source right now. So we've noticed that these still ponds are a little bit clear and also a little bit algae tinged. They have lots of little pieces of wood floating in them. So next we're going to see what running water in nature might look like if we were to put it in a bag. So this is our source of fresh and running water that we're going to test with our little plastic bag. Again, remembering that it's a very different experience when you're near still water and moving water, so always ask your child, what differences do you notice? What's the same? Any of those other great inquiry questions. My favorite, what do you hear? The sound of running water over little stones has a very particular sound that I find very, very relaxing. So again, take a moment to, you don't have to just rush in and grab your plastic bag. Take a moment, sit, observe, appreciate, and then when you're ready, grab your plastic bag and we're going to fill it up just like we did before. And take a look at what we have. So in this one, if we can get it up, so if you notice this one, it is much clearer than the previous water we had seen. The thing I want you to focus on here is, again, asking your child, why do they think that is? Their answer may be way off base, and that's completely okay. What you want to do is just ask those questions of, what do you see floating in this water? Do you think it's clear? Do you think you can drink this? The answer should still be no. But again, just asking why they think that is. And we know that it's because for part of the reason to make it simple. As the water moves, it kind of helps filter out some of those things that otherwise would sit, like algae, which only grows in still water. So that's part of it. Again, you can also ask them questions like, what do you think is in this water that you don't see? Because certainly, like I said, this isn't water we want to drink. So maybe then looking around, well, you can't see to the cameras. There is lots of also, unfortunately, garbage and litter here. So how do you think that affects the water? All of these are great questions to explore with your little one. And also my favorite question of what can we do to maybe try and make this water healthier? So things like, picking up our garbage and bringing our plastic bag with us when we leave. All of those little things that are so important to teach your child as you're out exploring the water around you, because it's a great way to connect with nature, and part of connecting with nature is respecting nature. So we never want to do anything that's going to leave it worse off than it was before. So that is it today for our video on outdoor water play and getting to know our natural water features. I hope you had lots of fun. I hope you packed some warm clothes when you go out and do this, because it is still that little bit chilly, and do keep in mind that whenever we're playing in the water, it can get a little bit cold if we're getting damp. So wear those layers, but get outside, have lots of fun. Look for ducks, look for baby ducks and baby geese. See what different types of water samples you can explore and really examine. And again, look for those different types of vegetation and sensory experiences that are only available for a very short period during the year as the spring rains come and fill these basins, because when summer does come, they will dry up and some of these things are going to go away. So get outside and explore them while they're here. So thank you for watching this video. There will be additional links included one on water safety, so please check those out. And I hope I see you next week for another Friday Outdoor Learning video. Bye for now.